now. If you do not wish to be recorded, then this might not be the class for you, okay? The recordings will be accessible to everybody later on, so you can go back and look at the material, look at the talks, everybody's participation. If you do not wish to be recorded, okay? However, I highly encourage you come to class because we will have plenty of discussions, and I can answer questions right here and then. Later on, if you choose to just watch the recordings, I do not regurgitate that information later on. And if there's something that was not clear from me explaining it in class, I'm not going to explain it again through emails because I have about 150 students between 4 classes, 140 to 150. So I cannot do that for everybody. It would just be a logistical nightmare for me. Okay. Okay, let me bring up my presentation. Oh, I guess I need to share the screen. So just to tell you again, this lecture is being recorded. All lectures will be recorded, and I'm going to share my screen now with you guys. Can everybody see my screen? Kind of looks a little funny. Yeah, right. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. So welcome to CPNT 4060. The class is Scope and Design Management for the fall semester of 2020. My name is Jose Limus. I will be your instructor for this course. I am originally from El Salvador, Central America. Came to Canada in 1992. I did work on commercial construction sites in Mexico City before immigrating to Canada. While in Canada, I worked as an independent general contractor in Calgary for 17 years, where I worked a lot in residential and commercial new construction and retrofit projects. I worked for private lending institutions, aka banks, a bunch of property management companies, and a large number of private investors. I graduated from SAIT's CPM program. So this program, the program that you're taking right now, I graduated from this program. I went back to school in my mid to late 30s, and I graduated in 2016. I continue on after I graduated from this CPM program and got into the University of Calgary's Executive MBA program, from which I graduated in May of 2019. Yes, that's May of last year. And I started teaching, actually, as soon as I graduated, I had not even graduated yet, and I was teaching a class for SAIT for school construction back in early June. That's early June last year. I am currently pursuing a Master of Civil Engineering in Project Management from the University of Calgary. The PMP designation, which I will be taking my exam hopefully by November, December. I had already completed the hours and the education some time ago. I just kind of put it off because I was doing my MBA and I was doing a bunch of other things. So I recently picked it up again, and hopefully I'll be attending the test by late November, early December. I'm also pursuing the Professional Quantity Surveyor designation from the Quantity Surveyor Institute, which I highly recommend to everybody. If you like numbers, if you like the money aspect, if you like working not with your hands, but with your brains, more so. If you're more math inclined, then that might be something for you. Also, just because it's an area that I was kind of lacking on, I am going for the Certified Construction Contract Administrator designation from Construction Specifications Canada. Okay, that's something else that I highly recommend to everybody. It's just a couple of courses and a bunch of hours. Why am I pursuing these three designations at the same time? Because I can utilize all my hours in this that I have in construction management for all three designations, so I can triple dip. For the PMP, you only need 4,500 hours after this degree. For the professional quantity surveyor, I was able to get in from the professional entry pathway, where they credit me with 10 years worth of professional experience. So I do not need to show any more hours. And for the CCCA, I think you need to show about 9,000 hours in total, which is double the number of hours of project management, and I am currently putting them together. I'm pretty sure I got enough, but we'll see if they're happy with what I'm putting together. One fun fact for me, anyways, is I like running with balls. Yes, physical balls. There's an event in Strathmore every year, except for this year. Everything is different this year. During the Strathmore Stampede, they let fools and morons like me, go and run with the balls, during the weekend, on Saturdays and Sundays, and it's a ton of fun. I highly recommend it. You sweat like a pig, and you lose about 5 pounds running. So, and that's my email. Any questions? Any questions so far? No? Okay. So, if we can go around the room, I just like to know a little bit more about yourself. Just quickly, do not need to take much time, and just tell me who you are, what you're doing right now, one fun fact that you like to share. If you like to share, if you don't like to share, any facts about you, no worries. But one expectation for the course. Okay, so let me go back to the class list here. So sorry, I'm going to start naming everybody here. Alexandra, what about you?
Hi, so yeah, my name is Alex. I'm currently just a receptionist in Calgary. I love to travel, and I'm hoping to successfully complete this course and have a further understanding of the construction project management field.
Sure. Do you have any experience in construction at all?
I don't.
Okay, no worries. Everybody else, if you can tell me as well, what kind of experience, if you have any. If you don't, that's okay. That's what you're here to learn. So next is Dan.
Hi, I'm Dan. I am in the CPM course program. I have some residential construction experience. I like to drive around in yellow Austin Mini, so like the Mr. Bean car. And an expectation for this course, I guess the same as Alex. Just want to learn as much as I can about project management and just continue on. Yeah.
No worries. That's cool actually. I like those cars.
Yeah.
Danny.
Hi, I'm Danny.
Yes.
I just graduated from the AT program just last semester.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm just starting the project management course. I'm also from El Salvador.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and one expectation from this course, well, I expect it to be challenging, so yeah.
Well, it might be a little bit, but I promise you, if you tackle it or you do something on this course every day, just a little bit every day, you will get through it. Did you have William Thompson in any of your classes in that program?
Not in my class, no.
Okay, okay, no problem.
Yeah, yeah.
Next one says Amen. Am I pronouncing it right?
It's Iman.
Iman. So my apologies.
No
So-
problem. My name is Iman, and I'm currently in my last year of the BBA program.
Oh,
An
okay.
interesting fact about me is that I love going hiking, and since quarantine started, that's probably been the only thing I've been doing. And one probably for this course, I just really want to learn more and do well and see what new things I can learn.
Great. Actually, if you're from the BBA program, I'm teaching project management 1 for the second and third year students right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I'm cross-pollinating between the School of Construction and the School of Business.
Yeah.
Gregory, you're next. Oh, by the way, when you guys are done, just make sure you mute your mic. So, Gregory.
Yeah, hi, my name is Greg. I'm also in the BBA program for accounting. I don't really have any experience in construction, and then I'm just trying to learn more, and hopefully I do well in this course.
Okay, great. Irving, am I pronouncing it right?
Well, I pronounce it Irving.
Oh, Irving. Okay, my apologies.
I'm from Mexico originally.
Okay.
I've been living in Calgary for about 8 years now.
Okay.
I did the Civil Engineering Technologies program before transferring into the Construction Project Management program.
Okay.
I have a little bit of experience in construction, but it was mostly like office work, so I don't feel like I have quite that much experience because I didn't get to go outside on the field.
Sorry, what was your experience on?
Well, I was mostly in the engineering side. I worked for a
engineering side. Oh, okay.
design consultant, yeah.
Okay.
And well, I don't really know what to expect from the course, but I'm really excited about it. I feel like it's gonna be really interesting.
It will be. Believe me. Jill.
Hi everyone, I'm Jill. I graduated the AT program in 2019 and I'm looking to get into project management, obviously. I do have a residential home framing company that's been around since 2017, so I think this will be a good fit.
Yeah, I think so. So is that your own company? So you're an entrepreneur?
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's when I first came to Canada, that's what I was doing too. And was working for under somebody else, and then I opened up my own company eventually, and haven't looked back since. So, Jules. Jules Molina. Jules, do you have a mic on? Oh, okay. No worries. Maybe next class we'll get you to talk if your mic is not working right now. Marcus.
My name is Marcus. I'm a civil engineer, so background back home. I have 10 years experience in building construction.
Okay.
So yeah, I also graduated from CVT program to CPM.
Okay.
So my expectation for this course, hope that at the end of the course, I'm going to learn a lot and try to put what I've learned, what I'm going to learn in this course into practice. So.
Okay, no problem. Thank you very much, Marcus.
Hello. I graduated from the CVT program 6 years ago, and I've been working as an assistant project manager in the industry for those last 6 years. I've come back to school to further my education and get my PMP is my plan.
Oh yeah, how far away are you into your PMP?
I haven't started. I'm gonna look into it after I'm done these courses.
Oh, okay, because the PMP format is changing as of January.
Yeah, which is kind of the reason why I was gonna wait. Didn't really want to start doing something and then have to rechange how I was approaching it. So
Yeah, I can tell it's gonna be a little bit harder though, from the looks of it.
yeah,
Once the PMI Institute actually comes out, with the outline, we'll know for sure. But from first glance, it kind of looks like it'll be a little bit tough to get through the PMP exam.
hmm
Okay, thank you, Mike.
Hello, everyone. How you all doing?
Good.
Yeah, my name is Mike. I'm one of the students in the construction management program. I have a background in IT. I have a degree in
IT.
computer science,
Oh wow.
and then I have a journeyman ticket in pipe fitting. I spent about, let's say, 5 years, 6 years doing pipe fitting, and it got to the point, and I was like, you know what? I need to move into the management position, and this is the best path to take. So
Okay.
that's it.
Huh. So are you, if you get a computer science degree, are you more into the analytics side? Is that something that interests you, or?
During the recession in about 2013, when there was not a lot of jobs for IT, that was when I transitioned into
Yeah.
construction. I started my journeyman intern apprenticeship, got my journeyman ticket, and now I'm moving into the project management and construction.
Oh, cool. Glad to have you here.
Thanks.
Mustafa.
Hi everyone, my name is Mustafa. I am in third year of the construction project management course. So I have a civil engineering degree from my home country, Iran. So, and I have 8 years experience in construction industry in different sectors as a civil engineer and other parts.
Great. Thank you. Owen.
Hey guys. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, my name is Owen. I'm in my last semester, pretty much my last semester of my BBA program. And yeah, I'm just trying to figure out, navigate my way through the online world right now. But I have a little bit of experience. I worked for PCL as an administration student, so I've been on the financial side of projects. But the goal would to be in the construction field, whether it's in the office or as a project manager and whatnot. So, and something that's interesting is I just got married in February, so it's been a crazy time.
Congratulations. I bet you were not expecting your married life to be, or the beginning of your married life to be under a pandemic.
No, exactly.
Definitely a challenge. I think my screen is doing funky things here. There you go. Next, it's Rajika.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm also from the third year of the CPM program.
Okay.
So my background is I'm a mechanical engineer.
Okay.
And I have 5 years of experience back home, working in coastal construction, making breakwaters, jetties, dredging, those kind of things. And then when I came here, I thought I want to get into project management. That's why I started doing the program. And I was fortunate enough for the over the summer to do an internship at the Ring Road. So
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
I have been
So,
busy.
sorry, did you say you're in the CPM program or the BBA program?
CPM program.
Okay, so you got your internship done and out of the way.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
did.
that's great because there's a bunch of students right now really struggling and wondering whether they're going to be able to graduate next year or not because they were not able to complete their internship. Internships were rescinded. Some of them, were
Okay.
put on hold. So yeah, you're lucky, man.
Yeah.
Reese, am I pronouncing it right?
Hi, yeah, it's Reese.
Reese.
Hi, my name's Reese. I'm in my 4th year of the BBA. At the moment, I'm just working as a car detailer for Crowfoot Dodge, Calgary. And for this course, I'm just hoping to increase my knowledge about construction project management. And something that is interesting about me is I really like sports, I guess. I'm really into hockey, soccer, anything really.
Okie dokie. Talha or Tala? Your mic must be muted, Talha. We still can't hear you. Still cannot hear you. You sure you got your mic on? Well, it kind of looks like you do, but cannot hear anything. Okay. Do you say something about yourself? Probably not working. Yeah. Okay. No worries. I'll get you to introduce yourself some other time. It looks like we have a few people that join. Arjun, did you get to say anything before? No? Okay. Jasper, what about you?
Yeah. Hi, Jose. My name is Jasper, and for in terms of background, what were you asking again? Like,
Just to a little bit about yourself. What kind of a background you have, what program you're in, and maybe an expectation for the course.
okay, so I'm in a BBA program in my 3rd year right now. I'm doing accounting. I'm interested in construction project management because I just want to have a little bit of background in the construction industry, and I'm really interested in learning the business side of the construction industry. For the course, I'm hoping that it will help me or give me the background that I need so that I'll be able to bring value to my in accounting firms or something like that.
Okay, great. Anybody else? Did I miss anybody? I know some people had some issues there with their speakers or their volume, so no one else? Okay, great. So back to my presentation. Actually, before we do that, it looks like we have 18 people here. So that's a majority, I would say. So I'm gonna put it out to a vote. We're supposed to have a 3-hour lecture Wednesdays, 8 to 10:45 or so. Does everybody want to follow that and take a couple breaks in between, or do you want to power through and end the class a little earlier? That means we start at 8 and we finish at about 10:15 or so. And I need you guys to write it down, okay? Because this is being recorded, so finish the class earlier or take the breaks. Okay, so far as let me see. Come on, so no break, power through, no powering through, powering through, power through, no breaks, no breaks. Let's power through it. Power through. Okay, doesn't seem like anybody wants to take breaks. Okay, great. It's decided. We will be going. We're going to power through. And we'll end the class every Wednesday at about 10:10 or so. And then that way you can get on with the rest of your day. Okay. So, where were we? Course outline. So the course is designed to provide you with an appreciation, and this is about the only time I'm going to be reading off the screen, by the way, guys. It's designed to provide you with an appreciation of the roles of both the designer and the designer on construction projects. We will take a look at the concept of design for value, significance of project scope, scope management skills, integrated designs, and the client's brief. Design evaluation and the impact of design on procurement and production. Okay. The course plans. We will have lectures where I'm going to go through modules. We will have assignments, 2 individual assignments, group projects where you're going to do a presentation at the end of the semester. We'll talk about the groups a little bit in a few minutes here. Maybe guest speakers. This was certainly easier for some reason to get previous semesters. I tried to get guest speakers on my lectures in the spring summer classes that I was teaching, but for some reason it was a little tougher. Nobody wanted to do that. Everybody's busy doing stuff online. So I don't know if we're gonna have any guest speakers. We'll have case studies. You guys will be accessing internet resources. We'll have a midterm and a final. Questions and problems will come directly from the textbook chapters, module slides, and any extra material I provide through the course. They could be a combination of multiple choice, true and false, and short answers, and expect to use your own judgment when answering some questions. What does that mean? That means I will throw a situation at you. Okay, and you know, ask you to provide me your analysis. Okay, so can this happen, or why did this happen, or you know, tell me what the best course of action should be. You know, and believe me, it's not. It will not be that clear. You're gonna have to think a little bit. You know, but it'll be good. What else? Course grading and textbooks. So the grading is distributed this way. The 2 individual assignments are worth 10% each. The group project is 20%. The midterm is 20%. The final will be 30%. Class discussion and participation is worth 10%. The school construction is using another word for this. I think they're calling it professionalism. So literally, if you say nothing, you do not talk, you do not ask questions, you do not participate in the discussions, even though you may not know the answer, you may not know what I'm talking about, but you actually participate a bit. You know, that's worth 10%, and I am being told to enforce that this semester. Last semester, I had a class where people just didn't want to talk at all. It was just the same 4 or 5 guys, and everybody else was just quiet all the time. Okay, so I am going to be enforcing that a little more. And then we have a bonus optional marks if you want to try them. It'll be for an individual 5-minute presentation. I'll give you more information on what type of presentation that would be at the beginning, or sorry, in the next couple classes. And basically, there's no deadline for this. There's no, you know, no set date that you need to present by. Just every class, I am going to open up a spot of 5 minutes at the beginning of the class for you to present, maybe a project, maybe a process, maybe something. I'll give you more information on the requirements later on, and that is worth 5% of your overall mark. Okay, if nobody wants to present, that's okay. I will continue with the lecture. No worries. There is only one spot per class that will open, so we have 15 weeks, and this week is going to be gone, so there'll only be 13 or 14 spots available. So not everybody's going to get to participate, and that's okay. In the past, because it was optional, at least half of the class decided not to. So it'll be first come first serve basis. So if people reserve their spots, it'll be like I said, first come first serve. And there is a question. Let me go back to the screen because I have to keep changing from screen to screen. Mike, you have a question?
Yes, I just want to find out, are you going to provide topics on what the presentations is going to be based on?
Yes,
or we just
I
going to
will. No, I will be providing you a guide as to what it is that I'm looking for, what type of topics, and what it is that I'm looking for in those presentations. Keep in mind, they're just individual 5 minutes. Okay, they're not like there's not like a huge research component to them. Okay, so I'll throw that out sometime within the next few days. Hopefully by the weekend I'll send it out as an email to everybody, and then take a look, and you can tell me if you want to reserve a spot or not, just by emailing me, and as I said, first come first serve. Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. So yeah, if you do everything, that will be 105% of your marks. So it's going to be pretty hard to fail this course if you put in the time and the effort. The required textbook is Engineering Project Management. I believe I have a copy of it. It looks like, I'm not sure if you can see this or not, but let me see. Oh, hang on. It looks like this. This is the textbook. Third edition by N.J. Smith from Blackwell Publishing. Okay. We will be referring to that textbook quite significantly. Okay, so if you can get the PDF, all the power to you. The optional textbook, which I highly recommend, is the Little Black Book of Project Management. It is not required. However, it is a great book to have. If you are hoping to stay within project management or advance in project management, it is a great resource to have and refer to later on in your career. It was published in 1990 by N.C. Tomset. Okay. Let me go back. Schedule. Oh, let me put it into presentation mode. Schedule. We have a loaded schedule, guys. Okay, and I uploaded the latest version on D2L yesterday. I'm pretty sure it says schedule fall 2020. There might be another schedule lurking around in D2L. I think I saw it a few days ago. So this is the latest version. It's got the dates for the fall. So you just refer to it. For next week, we'll be talking about actual scope management through design control. And the textbook chapters are this, so you can read through some of them. It would be a good idea if you guys read the chapters before coming to class, because then you are more prepared for discussion, because I'm not going to be here to read the slides and the chapters to you word by word. That's not what I do. I like to open the floor for discussion, and the conversation usually heads one way or another. Okay, so let me see, midterm week will be on I guess the class on the Wednesday, so October 28th will be the midterm. That's subject to change. I'm as I understand it, it's probably at the later part of when midterms should be, because I was hoping to not clash with your other classes, and you guys have a little bit more time to study. But based on popular demand, that can be changed, can be brought up, earlier in the session. But I do not want to go past the end of October for the midterm. Final will be on December 16th. I'm open to to doing the final a week earlier as well. That might affect the review session, or I can provide a small review before going into the final. There will be group presentations, I believe. This is group assignment due. I'll get back to you on that if it's actually a presentation or it's just a report that you guys will be presenting. I believe the course called for group presentation. Yeah, there's group presentations right there, actually. So it'll be a group research project with a presentation, okay? We have 25 students. We might lose a few, so the groups will be made up of 5 people. You'll have about 20 minutes to present, so that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, it'll be about 2.5 hours or so, 2.5 to 3 hours if we take like a 5-minute break and there's questions in between. And if I provide a bit of a review, oh no, that's the following week. Never mind. So it'll occupy the 2.5 hour session on December 2nd for the presentations. What else? What else? Any questions so far?
Quick question about the textbook. I happen to stumble on the 2nd edition. Is that as good as the 3rd edition?
It's the 3rd edition is different, a little bit different. It's being upgraded in a few areas, and I believe it has been shuffled a little. So if you find the corresponding chapter and topics on the 2nd edition, I believe you should be okay. But I'm not gonna give you that. You have to find that on your own. I am sure somebody will come up with the PDF for the 3rd edition sooner or later. When that happens, I encourage you to just go off by the 3rd edition, because it'll be a lot easier. Otherwise, you have to find, what your corresponding pages or topics or chapter is, from what we're looking at. Okay, so look at the chapter. I mean, the beginning of the chapters or the textbook is pretty much the same for both books. So chapter 1 should be the same pretty much, but then chapter 13 and 14, I think they're different numbers on the 2nd edition. So that's up to you to go through. Does that make sense?
Sure, that's good. Thank you so much.
Okay. Any other questions? No. Okay. Key to success in this course will be you attend all online classes. Okay. If you cannot attend, the classes will be recorded and will be accessible to you later on. I highly encourage you that if you miss a class or two, I mean, stuff happens. Go back to the recording and see what we talked about. Participate in the discussions. I'm not here to talk for the whole of 2 hours and a bit. That's not what teachers are supposed to do. We are discouraged from doing that. we need you guys to participate and actually contribute to the class, to the discussion. Ask questions, study and review the course content, outside of the lecture time. At least every couple of days or so. Know where you are in this course, know what's coming, see what you need to prepare for. Submit all your assignments on time. In the past, or at least in spring, summer, I was a little bit more lenient. However, we have been asked to toughen up here. So if you submit your assignments late, I'm going to start deducting a bunch of marks just because they are being late, okay? This is a Bachelor of Science degree class. Some of you are in the business degree. So both of you will be professionals. Both of you will be highly educated people, once you come out of, your degrees. So there is no reason why you couldn't properly program, or schedule your time to complete all your work. That is why you are going to school, right? To learn, and part of that learning is getting your work done and submitted on time. Okay, I know things happen sometimes. Life happens. If there's a excruciating circumstance, a death in the family, you got COVID-19 and you're, lying in the hospital, trying to breathe through a machine, all those are excusable circumstances. Okay, but not, aside from those, one-off circumstances, if you do not complete your work, or you're submitted on time, poor planning on your part, will not constitute an emergency on my part. Okay, so please, keep that in mind and submit all your work on time. Okay, otherwise, submit a day late, there goes 10%. So, so plan your time accordingly. Okay, I'm here to enable you and support you, okay, and kind of guide you, not to spoon feed you the information. So it is up to you as well to champion your own learning as well. What else? So my expectations of you will be you follow SAGE's Code of Ethics policies and academic policies. You can find it right there. Be considerate of other students and the instructor. If you have a point to make across, please wait until whoever is speaking is done. And just be polite. Okay, do not interrupt another student when they're in the middle of their question or saying something else. Do not mistreat anybody else, because that I will not tolerate that. Be on time, be ready for class, attend all regular classes and participate. Mute your microphone if you're not speaking. It's fine to turn on your microphone if you have a question, at any time, but mute it if you're not participating. If you are being disrespectful or unprofessional, or you are harassing someone else, I will kick you out of the session, no questions asked. Harassment will not be tolerated. Plagiarism will not be tolerated. Late assignments, except for, individual circumstances that might happen, will not be tolerated. And I do have, I will answer to most emails during office hours. I will every now and then answer emails, evening, nighttime, just because I might be bored and nothing else to do. But however, I do have a life. I do have a teenager that requires my time, who's in high school right now. And so I have a family as well. Mother, sister, wife, daughter, 2 cats, and I will get back to you sometimes in the evening and at nighttime, but it will not be a as quick as during the day. Okay. And if you're sending me an email at 11, 12 o'clock at night or 1, 2 in the morning, just because there is a something new the following day and you're struggling or you're just panicking, you know, good luck. I'm not getting back to you. Okay. Because I also go to sleep at night, and I do not answer emails at midnight or 1 or 2 in the morning. And there is always somebody who does that. So somebody who's, you know, 1:30 in the morning is panicking and wants information right now, or wants to know where, you know, where to go to access information, and they don't understand why I cannot just tell them, you know, one quick email, why I cannot answer their question. It's not happening at 1 in the morning. Okay, just to put that out there. Any questions? No questions. Okay, let me shut this off. Next presentation. Oh, by the way, yesterday when I was in my other class, the connection was kind of weak, and it was kicking out or kicking off my presentation, and people couldn't see my screen 3 or 4 times during the 3-hour period that I was teaching in the afternoon. If that happens, interrupt me at any time. Okay, Jose, we cannot see the screen, or the screen just went black, or, you know, the connection is weak or lost or something. Because it did happen yesterday. It didn't happen at all in the spring and summer. So I don't understand what the issue was yesterday. So by all means, do not be afraid to just interrupt me and tell me that the screen is no longer available to you, because it may happen today. I don't know why. So, but technology. Okay, so scope and design management. Do you guys prefer this format here, or the presentation mode here? Which one do you prefer?
Either
First
one
one?
is pretty good.
Either one? First one? Okay. Well, oops. I'll try this one then. So, can anybody tell me what is a scope and design management? What's a scope, actually? Let's break it down. What's a scope mean? What does a project?
In my opinion, the scope of project is the requirement of the owner that should be considered as a project. It's basically is what the stuff the owner needs, and the project manager convert this requirement to the scope of the project.
Okay. Anybody else?
I believe scope would be the requirement of the client, and the design will be based on the scope that we have to convert it into a design and present it in construction.
Okay. So, what's design management then? And why is it different from scope or from scoping?
Scope is anything inside the project or out, or it's not defined as a project. It's a statement of work. But the design management is the part of the scope that the project, that the designer team prepare as a drawing or a specification or others.
Okay. So what I can tell you is a scope actually is easy, or scoping is easy. It's a no-brainer. You learn how to scope a project. designing it and getting a buy-in from all the stakeholders actually is very, very difficult. Because sometimes you got multiple stakeholders. I mean, if it's just one individual, the owner, it's a lot more simple. But when you got multiple, parties that you need to satisfy, and they all have an idea of what they want, and trying to balance, the requirements of all stakeholders involved is incredibly difficult. You need to negotiate, because what somebody's idea of what the requirements are could be in direct conflict, what somebody else's other ideas of what the requirements for the piece of infrastructure, that is to be built, what the requirements are for that. So there was a video, and I'm not sure if you guys can see videos here. Can you guys see this?
Yes.
Yes?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Did anybody take a look at the video in D12? This is straight from out of D12. It's a 3.5 minute video. Last time that I tried to play a video, for some reason, the volume wasn't coming across in this tool. If it doesn't come across, then I'll get you to go to that link and watch the video, because it explains what is this, scope management in very, very concise way. So if it's not working out for you, the volume, please let me know. Okay. So I'm playing it now. Can you guys hear that okay and watch it okay?
I think if you increase the volume all the way up, we might be able to hear it.
Okay, hang on a second. Is that better?
I think the volume is just too low. I can sort of hear it, but I can't really make out what he's saying.
Okay, hang on a second. Is everybody in D12, by the way? So, okay, so I guess some people can hear and some cannot. So if you're in D12, here's, if you can see my screen again, if you go to content, where is it? Course content. No. Today. Oh, there it is. Okay. So you go to week 1, September 7 to 11. Under the class content, there is a link there for what is a project scope. If you go there right now, please, and watch the video, 3.5, and then we'll meet back here, get back into the room, and turn off your microphone from, so that we don't get, your video coming across. That will be great. So if you can do that right now, please, I'll appreciate it. If you're having issues getting to the D2L site, let me know. Another minute or so, we should be good. Okay, great. Wait for a few more people. So what do you guys think?
It was a very good definition about scope and like how scope defines the project.
Okay. What else?
I've encountered scope creep numerous times.
Yes, you know, I actually, that was one of the next things I'm going to be talking about, but I'm glad you brought it up. Does everybody know here or here know what the scope creep is, or what does it mean?
The scope script is anything beyond that initial scope that define it, and it's beyond that the project scope actually.
Okay, but many times it's really not that black and white. As you will find later on in your professional careers, that the waters are a little muddy sometimes, you know, and because the scope is not well defined, it's not really understood, you know, where the scope ends and when, you know, other work becomes out of scope. Because in order to get some of the work that you've been tasked to do or to complete, you know, you may need to do other activities in order to complete your work. Does that kind of make sense? Does it ring a bell? And it happens all the time, guys. It happens. Wow. You know, more than I like to tell you, or more than I care to tell you. It happens in construction companies. It happens in mining companies, in IT companies, where all of a sudden, you know, the client, you know, has an idea in his or her head, you know, what it is they want, and you know, as designers, you know, when you're scoping your project, you need to maybe help the client realize, you know, the limitations of what he or she may be asking, so that the scope can be controlled. Otherwise, you know, you think the client is asking this, or what the client needs is this, but the client thinks, you know, or wants this, you know, wants, like, you know, more work than actually what's required. Okay. An idea would be, or an example would be, you know, I might want, you know, a swing in my backyard, you know, but I want it to look like a theme park. Okay, so and a swing, you know, to an engineer, it's like, well, you know, just put 2 ropes on a tree branch and attach a tire to it, you know, and that's a swing. I mean, okay, you don't want a tire. Okay, you want some kind of you know, ergonomically, you know, aesthetically pleasing seat, so the kids do not, you know, hurt themselves, and and the ropes, they're easy to grab onto, and it doesn't burn their little hands, okay. So, but maybe the client is thinking something else, So does that make sense?
Yeah, I've encountered that. Or the design team has painted them a picture, yet when it's gone out to specification, they haven't communicated that in the specification. So when it's tendered and estimated, it's estimated at a lower cost because the builder is thinking something different.
And so it's not a straight line of communication from designer to builder, is it?
No.
No, it isn't. Does everybody know what a specification is?
A specification is quality of the project documents.
Quality, okay. Can you be more specific?
I would say the specification is all the components agreed upon to produce your project.
Very good, Mary. So when you have a construction project, everybody's familiar with the blueprints, right? Please tell me you're familiar with the blueprints. You all seen construction drawings. Those are the blueprints, okay? If you do not know what construction drawings are, then this might not be the course for you. But I hope that everybody's come across them at least once in their lifetime. So in those drawings, there's a little bit of detail, maybe what we like to call is schedule of, or finish schedule, or schedule of finishes, and you get that for, like for painting, for plumbing, for drywall, for, multiple trades, right? But the drawings really, it shows you a picture of what the project is supposed to look like. It doesn't tell you how to put it together, okay? Or it doesn't tell you the specifics of how it's supposed to perform. Okay, if I can make a simple analogy, is you go to Burger King. Everybody's been to Burger King, I think, once in their lifetime. Hopefully not too often, because you don't want to die of a heart attack. But if you've been to Burger King, you walk up to the counter and you see the border, okay? And you see pictures of a burger, okay? That's what the drawings, the construction drawings are. You see the pictures of what it's supposed to look like, okay? Specifications are different in the way that they tell you how the product is going to either going to be put together or how it's supposed to perform. There's various types of specifications. There's performance type of specifications. There's a prescribed specification. There's prescriptive specification. They tell you how to put it together exactly. It'll tell you, so this burger, you're going to put a bun first. This type of bun, it's coming, I don't know if they freeze them or not, but this type of bun is called a quality of bun. Then you're going to put mayo on it, okay? And you're going to rub it on the bun, if they rub it, once or twice, or you're going to bring the machine and you're going to squirt a little bit of mayo on it. Great. Then you put the cheese on top. Then you put patty on top, then lettuce, onions, and maybe ketchup. And then you put the other bun on top. Then you put it, on top of a piece of paper, and then you wrap it up and you give it to the person who's going to give it to the customer. That's prescriptive specifications, okay? It tells you how to put it together exactly. Performance specifications is different. Performance specification is, you see this burger, that's the blueprint, that's the construction drawing, okay? it looks juicy. It's supposed to taste like this. It's supposed to be yum. It's supposed to be juicy. It's supposed to taste like, you know, cheese and bacon and whatever, right? And it doesn't tell you how to put it together. That is up to the contractor, okay? But it's supposed to perform to this standard, okay? That's what performance specifications are. And in the construction world, the type of specification that promotes the most innovation in the industry is performance specifications, because you don't tell the contractor you're going to put this steel beam or a structure, you know, this way and that way, and you know, you just tell the contractor what is supposed to is the structure supposed to perform, to what standard, okay? What level of sustainability, what lead level is supposed to attain, how long is the structure supposed to last, 50 years, 100 years. If it's a bridge, I hope you know that the specification outlines that the bridge has to withstand, you know, the test of time for at least, I don't know, 40, 50 years before it should be, you know, upgraded or replaced. Because you certainly don't want a bridge, you know, to last for a few years, 5 years or so, and then needs to be replaced. That's not what the purpose is. So that's what specification writers do. It is a very technically savvy type of position. A lot of the spec writers who write a specification for construction projects, they are independent consultants or contractors, if you call them. A lot of them call themselves consultants. It is not uncommon for a spec writer to charge anywhere between $6,000 to $30,000 to write a spec that takes them maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I mean, the longer it takes them, you know, the more they're going to charge. The spec market in construction only, because there's other markets or sub-markets, mostly in engineering, definitely in oil and gas. But in construction alone, in Canada, there is a very limited number of spec writers who are actively writing specifications for construction projects in the country. A lot of them, they're getting older. They're definitely getting very close, or some of them are even past their best before day. But they continue writing specs for architectural firms and engineering firms because there's not a lot of new blood coming into that market, into that type of industry. Okay, I have known of a guy who is in his early 70s, who's been writing specs for close to 40 years, I believe. He has his clients that are not going anywhere. He lives in a beachfront condo in Puerto Vallarta, I think, and he writes part-time. He writes specs part-time out of his beachfront condo. You know, I think he writes about 15 or so specs a year at most, because he doesn't need the income anymore. But out of those 15, you know, between 1,000 and 15 specs a year, he makes close to $200,000 a year, Canadian, part-time. It's a sweet job, but you need to be in the industry for a long time because you need to understand the construction methods and you need to understand the language that designers use to, you know, in order to put together these specs that, you know, you're really translating what the designer and the architect have put together based on the requirements or, you know, their scope work or scoping work from, you know, that they did with the contract or the owner, and you're putting it together so that the contractor can read those instructions and put together the assemble the structure, whatever that might look like. Okay. So, anyways, I think I got off topic there. We can come back to the spec market later on. But yeah, in a nutshell, scoping a project is getting the requirements of the client, for space requirements, functionality requirements, so that you can put together something that will work for as per the needs of the client. Okay, does that make sense? Does anybody have any questions so far? Does that make sense? Makes sense. Great. I know some of you might be lost. By the way, not sure if I said this oops, at the beginning or so, but I am not going to be here or sitting down reading a slide by slide to you. That's not what I do. Okay, so the slides, you are intelligent enough that you can take the slides and you can go read them on your own. In your own time. I will go through the slides and pick out, certain portions, certain important things I think that I want to bring a discussion and get you to talk, get you to think. But I do not read a slide by a slide. Okay. In the past, many of my students have appreciated that. Because if I'm going to be reading slide by slide, to you, then why are you here? You can do that on your own. Your own time. Okay. So going back to the class here. So the you scope, in order to design your structure, and you want to design for value, you wanna manage the scope process so that it doesn't creep up on you. Where the client maybe requires, because sometimes the client doesn't know what he or she really needs or want. They might have an idea and they're all over the place. Okay, it is your job as a scope manager, or scope and designer to bring that client down to earth. Okay, so you need to have proper scoping skills, scope management skills. So you need to ask very specific questions. You need to take the client through a process so that the scope of the project doesn't become gigantic. Okay, and then based on the client's requirements, many designers, what they do, they will look at similar projects that have been done somewhere else. Okay, maybe the designer has a portfolio of projects that they work together and or they put together in the past. Certainly, if you're working for a big firm, you will have access to a list or portfolio of projects that the company has put together in the past. And I'm talking about companies such as IBI group, who's a group of designers, architects, engineers, and landscapers. Riddle, Kursava, also they're both from. They both have offices in Calgary. I believe they both have offices all over the country. They're a national company each. That's what they do. They put drawings and the scope together for projects for clients, and some of them might act as the principal consultant in the project. Some of them are just hired for just the purely the architectural and the scope part of the project, and then that work gets shifted to maybe another consultant who will manage the process and put together, the builder, the construction project manager, and help with all the contracts and controls for the project. So there is various companies who will do various things. Some of them are specialized only in the drawings and the scoping and maybe the specifications, and that goes to somebody else, and then other companies who integrate the entire process. If you guys ever heard of design build, those companies exist where they will take the entire process, take the client all the way from the initial concept design to, through the final design, scope, specification, help out with the construction management part of it, handle all the trades, put in place all the contracts, and all the way to the, until the project is built and handed over to the client. Okay. But there are some that are just specialized on certain parts. Okay. Any questions so far? No. Okay. So you guys can read through the outline or the outcomes of this, but just to highlight a few things, we'll talk. We'll go a little more into scope management, the successful delivery, the methods of payment for design services. Does anybody have any idea? I think one of you has, or a couple of you have worked for designers before. How do designers get paid? Mary, I think you were talking before. You work for a design firm. Have you been exposed to the financial side?
Not with the design firm. I worked for 2 smaller construction companies as the assistant project management. One of them, though, is a design build company. So my experience on the financial side of stuff is there'll be parts of a contract. So there'll be milestones in a contract that need to be met for payment to be released. So as far as I understand, when the design phase is completed and you get 100% IFC drawings for construction drawings, they issue an invoice to the client, and then the client pays that invoice. And I believe there's mostly a holdback until the construction contract is complete.
Very good. That's certainly one way of doing it. Some other designers, and when you're at that stage, that level of in your career, I mean, depending on the clients that you have and how good you are, and if believe me, if you're good and everybody wants your services, everybody wants to go to you, you can name your own ticket, you can name your own prices, and some designers I know that preferred as much upfront payment as possible. That's not the case with everybody, definitely. But I mean, if you're good and you're in high demand, that's certainly not unreasonable. If you can think of, I mean, everybody knows what lawyers do. Oops. Oh, come on. Lawyers like to get a retainer. 10, 15, 20, 25,000, some very outrageous, like 50,000, depending on what type of law you're practicing. Same thing with some designers, depending on what type of design they're working with, they would like to get an upfront retainer where they draw against, as they're working, as they're putting their number of hours. After that, what Mary said applies, that you have to produce a certain milestones, and based on certain milestones, then you can put in an invoice for a certain amount of hours as well. Okay. So yeah. What else? Cost control in the design world. That's certainly an issue because. If you give a lawyer a blank check, believe me, they're going to use it. Okay, there are some designers out there that, yeah, they do good job, a good, very high quality type of work. But however, time is money, and if they have access to a blank check, they have no problem drawing a out of that blank check as much as possible. So you need to control that as well. So you need to provide the client with some kind of a financial control that will steer the design process, and the scoping process, in one direction or another. It's kind of like a taxi driver as well. If you, I live all the way to Spruce Meadows. If I get a taxi and tell them to, take me to Panorama Hills in the Northwest, I would hope that, he just hops on the fastest route. I'm not sure if Deerfield will be the fastest, or, certainly when the ring road gets completed here, that will be the fastest way to get to Panorama Hills. But some taxi drivers, if you don't know, don't understand, they might just go through, hop on McLeod, go through downtown, then Center Street, and all the way to Panorama, and that will be the longest, most expensive route, I would think, especially if it's through traffic hour, instead of taking the fastest, least traffic or least congested route. Same thing applies to designers, okay, and lawyers. Okay. Within the design scope of work, you need to analyze for constructability issues and implementation. Can anybody tell me what does constructability mean? A constructability review of your design. What does that mean? Anybody?
How feasible it is to complete that component or build that component for that.
Okay. Can it be built? Okay. Many times the answer is yes. Okay. Surprisingly, is technical challenges that we hear, when building projects. We have the technology to build very complex structures. We have the know-how. It's not so much. Yes, the can it be built? First of all, it's an issue, but it's not so much as to can it be built. Can it be built and be financially feasible? Can it be financed by banks or financial institutions? Does the company or the client or owner have the financial capacity to take on this piece of infrastructure, based on his financial position, his or her financial position? If what they're asking for cannot be financially sustained, then the constructability needs to, or the design needs to change. Okay. So assuming that the client can take on the financial challenge and has the financial capacity, and there's financial institutions willing to back up this project, is the project, is it implementing some kind of new technology, new process, new materials? So at various stages of the design process, it would be a good idea to have some kind of constructability review. That is done, hopefully, by a very experienced construction project manager or a team of people, that will include a construction project manager, maybe a structural engineer, civil engineer, and specialists in mechanical, electrical, and HVAC, expertise. That will come together and just talk about the project, the structure. Can this structure function for its intended purpose, or are we over delivering? Do we need maybe what we need, to get from A to B to C is a Chevy Cavalier, or a I'm not sure what the latest Chevy four-door sedan cars are, but you know, the client probably just need a Chevy, and you know, are we building a Cadillac? You know, does the client need a Cadillac? You know, because if we're building a Cadillac, we wanna get paid for a Cadillac. We don't wanna get paid for a Chevy, you know, or a Ford Pinto. Okay, that's what constructability or some of the issues that constructability, you know, review would address as well. Okay, the type of material that you know will be utilized and how those materials play together, you know, in the structure. Okay, moving along. We'll talk a little bit about BIM as well. Some of you could be quite familiar with BIM. BIM is not business information modeling, it's building information modeling. Building information modeling, for those of you who do not know, that is the latest and greatest in the future of construction project management. It's slowly but surely being implemented at a snail's pace in Canada. Europe is far ahead in the implementation of BIM projects or construction projects. I would even say United States is ahead of the game, you know, ahead of Canada's game. It's the future of construction, you know, in how we can make the industry far more efficient. You know, part of the answer is lies within BIM. You can read it up later on. We just won't talk about it too much right now. So we talked about what's project scope. So what it is really is involves just getting information to start the project. You know, what does the project supposed to look like? What does the client need? And sometimes what the client wants is not what the client needs. And it's your job to, you know, make the connection. Okay. What else? Any questions so far? So, by doing your proper scoping in a project, you know, you will determine the specific goals and deliverables and features and functions of the structure. Then you get, based on that, you know, in the client's requirements, you can establish some kind of a schedule and deadlines and milestones to be set, and ultimately the cost of the project. Okay, so all that comes from scoping the project. What else? Oh yeah. Can anybody tell me what the stages in the life cycle of a project are?
Project life cycle is the framework of the project that define it at the initiation phase of the project.
Yeah, what are the 6 phases?
It depends on what kind of the life cycle we use. If we use a predictable life cycle, is start from initiation, planning, executing, monitoring, and closing.
You sure about that?
I think so. No.
Come on, man, be more confident. Okay, if you're, by the way, if you are going to make a mistake, this is the place to make the mistake, guys. Okay. I was once in your shoes, you know. Well, I might have maybe a lot more experience when I was a student, as a, you know, because I worked as a contractor for many years. I still made mistakes. I still got things wrong, and my teachers corrected me. Okay, so this is a place to make mistakes. You know, actually, by making mistakes, you know, and being corrected, you learn. You learn more than, you know, if you just keep quiet. So the project life cycle is, you know, it takes you from initiating the projects to conceptual design, to the front-end engineering design, to the procurement and construction, to the commissioning and operation, to the decommission, okay? Does everybody know what commissioning is?
Commissioning is like commissioning the equipment which is already installed and taking occupancy pretty much of a building.
Okay, so commissioning not just of the equipment, but when you're commissioning a building, you're commissioning the entire structure, all the systems. You test all the systems, or the machine, or the equipment, and also you put some kind of a training package for the client in documentation, so that the client knows how to take care of the building, how to do the proper maintenance going forward. Okay. You know, every so many years you need to do this type of preventative maintenance on, you know, on the boilers, or, you know, the commercial furnaces, or whatever the case may be. Okay, and that all that is part of commissioning, you know, operations. There's companies that specialize on construction commissioning in certain areas, and it is a process that takes anywhere between a few days to maybe 2 weeks or so, and not uncommon, by the way, for those companies to charge $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 for commissioning of a building. Sometimes it's a percentage of the contract. You know, if the contract is $10 million, and you know you charge 2%. There goes $200,000 for commissioning alone for 2 weeks work. Okay, so hint, 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 if you want to go, you know, that direction. What are the differences between project management and construction management?
So project management means like you're dealing with the entire project itself, like from initiation to completion of the project. Construction management is just
you're cutting out, man.
About the construction part of the project.
Okay.
Do you want me to repeat again, Jose? Yeah. So project management, I believe, is managing the entire project from start to finish, from design, from initiation of the concept till finishing of the construction process and handing it over to the client. Construction management is just worrying about the construction part of the project. That's how I see it, though.
Well, certainly both phrases interrelate, and there's a bit of confusion sometimes because a project manager, it's a good idea to involve a construction project management before construction actually starts. They're called construction project managers, of course, where they will be involved in constructability reviews. So that you know, because they're individuals with a lot of experience, you know, putting together buildings or physical pieces of infrastructure. They know in the field, you know, things don't quite work right sometimes. So they know what to look for. So a construction project is definitely a project, but it's more, you know, I mean, project management can be applied to any industry, any type of a project, you know, not necessarily construction. You know, you have an IT, you have maybe the designing and implementation of a new type of aircraft, or a new type of a software. You know, construction, it's more specific for construction, as per its name, construction project management. Okay, so that's what the difference is. And you're right, you know, the project management starts way before the construction starts, and will end after construction ends as well. It goes into operations and maintenance as well. Okay, because the life cycle, you know, of the project involves you know, operations and decommissioning. Decommissioning is when you know, you maybe take apart the building and recycle, whatever components you can recycle, and then you dispose of, parts of the infrastructure in a sustainable way. Certainly, there is a lot more of that happening now, and a lot more going forward into the future. Okay. What else? What else? This is important, guys. Okay. What's a project feasibility? Who performs a feasibility study?
Feasibility study is normally carried out by the client.
By the client?
Yes. Because it's, let's say if a client wants to build something, they need to see whether it's whether it can be done financially, and depending on the location and stuff, depending on the soil condition, whether it can be built, right? So that's part of the feasibility.
Yes, you're right. But you just told me the client that performs the feasibility study. Who performs the feasibility study? The client, or does the client contract a consultant, a designer, architect?
Yeah, the client pays a consultant to carry out the feasibility study for himself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And many projects, in order to, you don't know if the project is feasible. You don't know if the project is going to, if the demand is there. You don't know if there is going to be buy-in from all the involved stakeholders. That's where a feasibility study comes into play. I have one here, if you guys can still see my screen. Let me make it bigger. This is a feasibility study report. It's not old. It's commissioned it was produced in late 2018, so not even 2 years ago, for a mass transit project between for the Calgary-Bow Valley area. It was a study put together to see if there was enough need and support and if it's financially viable to put together a transit system that will take you, you would just hop on a train, kind of like the LRT system in Calgary or the one in Edmonton, and you could, it would take all the way to Canmore and Banff and hopefully Lake Louise as well. It was commissioned by the town of Banff, the client, the requester, because they wanted to increase, traffic, in Banff. Banff is a town for tourists. Okay, a lot of money, like almost the entire economy of Banff is supported by tourism, local, national, international tourism. All most of the businesses are tied into tourism in some kind or another, in Banff. Not all of it is tourism supported, but most of it. Okay, so they wanted to see what else they could do if it would be more financially feasible, if there's enough support, to build some kind of a transit, mass transit railway, to the town of Banff from Calgary, and it will be connected all the way to the airport, so that the international travelers should just hop off the airplane, get on a train that will go probably through Cochrane, then Canmore, then Banff. And as you can see, it's got a ton of information, background on the project, the project objectives, the structure of the project, the methodology used to get information, because that's important. You just don't go and ask your cousin, hey, do you think a massive transit railroad system would work between Calgary and Banff? Oh yeah, I think it's a great idea. We should go ahead and do it. Well, how much do you think it will cost? Oh, well, maybe $50 million. No, that's not how you go about it. Okay, the limitations of the project, the outline, outline of the report, demand analysis methodology. How did they go about defining what the demand for this project was, for the service? what the approach is, you know, a little bit of information on the logistics, on the demographics of the area, you know, the willingness to use the service, potential of the service, what the routes were, how much it could cost the end client, and what the you know, the potential fares could be, or the proposed fares, so to make the project feasible. You know, what the services, how much should be charged for the services, okay? What kind of route, you know, and stop locations could use. You know, and they mentioned Calgary, Cochrane, Stoney Nation, that's I think it's close to the Tsuut'ina Nation, Canmore, Banff, Lake Louise, and stops along the way, type of ridership that the project would have, and so on and on. I'm gonna post this, by the way, on D2L, so you guys can take a quick look at it. But the report is over 300 pages. I cannot possibly go through the report in this 2.5-hour session. So you're more than welcome to see the structure and the components. I don't need you to memorize anything. I just want you to understand, you know, how the components, not the details, but the components of this feasibility structure. Okay. They talk about the competition. You know, if we do with a bus service versus a rail service, that's part of a feasibility structure. You know, if a client is telling you, I want this type of building that I'm going to use for office space, well, do we need you know, a skyscraper, you know, in this area, or can we do with a, you know, with a 5-6 story building, you know, or you know, it's a multi-building, or do we need just one single building? Kind of idea. Okay. What else? So it goes into much more detail, you know, into like the type of equipment that could be used, different technologies that can be used. One of the technologies would be electric. Another one would be diesel power rails. And also there was I think it was some kind of a hybrid technology as well mentioned. There's no appetite for the diesel power, especially not going into Banff and Lake Louise. But nevertheless, it is a option that needs to be explored to compare against, you know, other options. It was the cheapest of all the options. The electric option was the most expensive, but the one that would gather the most support. You know, especially in Banff and Lake Louise and Canmore, you know, nobody wants you know, a diesel power train going at all hours during the day, you know, polluting the air and maybe the waterways. And what happens when those diesel cars break down? Okay. Then it goes into the operating cost of the system based on whatever technology is used. The operating cost is different from the capital cost, and that would be the same thing for a feasibility study in a construction project. The operating cost of the building, once it's built, you know, it goes into operation mode, and then you're going to have operating costs. Okay, what are they? What are the maintenance costs? You know, and so on, and that's going forward. Capital costs, that is how much money you put together to actually build the project. The construction phase that we talked about, where is it? Here. Okay. Where are we? There. That's the capital cost. Okay. Of you know, the track. You know, think of the track as for a rail system as the foundation, you know, of a building. What type of foundation do we need? Is the building going to withstand, you know, a hurricane type of wind gust? Then we need a very, very stable and solid foundation. And if it's not, if it's made for just, like our weather here, okay, well, we do have some pretty strong winds that seem to be getting stronger and stronger year after year. I'm not sure if you guys notice, but I've been in Calgary since '96, and I can tell you some years are worse than others, and the trend seems to be getting worse. Okay, little bit by little bit. Earthquakes. Does the foundation need to support the building, against earthquakes? If it does, then what type of earthquakes? We're talking about 3.1, 3.2, 4.1, 5.0, a 6. I'm not sure if anybody of you has ever been in an earthquake. I was in a very nasty earthquake, which was 7.1 that lasted for about 15 seconds, I think, in my home country, El Salvador. It was devastating. It was nasty. Buildings collapsed. Some of them just fell over, like literally just boom, fell over. So do we need to account for that? Okay, all that is part of the scoping and design process. Okay, kind of like this feasibility study. Okay. The station, think of the stations as the floors. How many floors do we need? Do we need like a central reception area, in each floor? Do we just need one on the main floor? And then people can take the elevators up and down, or kind of that idea. Okay. The maintenance, of the building, depending on the materials and the methods of construction, you want to analyze for maintenance. Some people talk about constructability issues. In scoping and design, you want to talk also about maintenance issues. Okay, you have to analyze how much a project is going to cost maintenance-wise. For the life of the project. Some materials and some ways of building the material or building the project will incur more maintenance costs than others, and you have to provide the client with those options. Okay, so you want this top of the line, or you want this very specific type of material, and you want this type of performance. Well, this will incur this type of maintenance cost going forward. Never mind the capital cost, to put together the project and build it and deliver it. But the maintenance cost, of this infrastructure project is going to be so much. And clients usually, are very surprised, that they never really thought about the maintenance cost of the material. If I can give you another analogy, is cars. Everybody knows there's some cars that are better than others. Okay. My personal preference, and by no means am I promoting anybody here or telling you to go and buy anything or specific brand, is Toyota. Okay, Toyotas, for me personally, I like them because the maintenance, it's as the car ages, not at the beginning. At the beginning, most cars will perform very, very well. Okay, some not so much, but for the most part, they perform very well. But as the car ages, the maintenance becomes an issue, and all of a sudden, after 6-7 years, you're spending as much or more money into maintenance costs to keep a car than it will cost you to get a new car on a yearly basis. Okay, I used to have a Chevy minivan. Or SUV, sorry, not minivan, an SUV. And after 7 years or so, it was costing me more in maintenance cost. Just the cost of maintaining the damn thing, than if I would have went myself and financed and bought a new car. I was spending between $5,000 and $6,000. After 6 years or so in maintenance throughout the year. After 8 years, that went up to almost $7,000, and like crap, I can go and spend $6,000, $6,500, in payments on a brand new car, own, not lease, own, instead of paying this much money into maintenance and then the cost of having the car down and not being able to get around. Okay, that's something you need to take into consideration. What else? So I will post this for you to take a quick peek, and I encourage you to look at it. And you do not need to read the entire document. Just take the executive summary, look at the table of contents, just to give you an idea what it is that is put together in a feasibility study. Do read the executive summary and the background and objectives of this study, and that'll give you a basics as to how other feasibility studies are put together. Here it talks about the different options and types of technology that were considered, the routes being considered, cost. I know most of you, at least the ones that are specifically in the CPM program, might not know how to read financial statements. For the business students, this is a great way to practice some of those financial skills that you should know by now, or you should be learning very, very soon. You'll find it very, very interesting. And at the end of the day, read the conclusion as well. You will see that the feasibility study concluded that the project will be a group project. Would provide lots of work. It was not feasible financially. What does that mean? It wasn't going to make money. At the end of the day, it's not going to make money. Okay, and there was a ton of people who were opposed to the project because they didn't want a bunch of power lines and being built around Banff, Lake Louise, Canmore. It was just going to take away from the beauty of the park and the way they wanted to go. Okay, so that's as far as I'm going to go here. I'm going to post this on D2L. Highly, highly encourage you to take a look at the structure. You don't need to read all of it. As I said, go through the table of contents and go up to the conclusion of the where is that again? Conclusion of the report, okay? And then the rest you don't need to get into. It's here somewhere. There you go. So up to the end of page 15. It's an easy read. It'll take you an hour and change. Okay, but this will give you far more educational objectives than if I would have just told you about it, through the slides. Oops. Okay. We talked about all this. Any questions so far about ability study? Oh, we got a question. Yes, Mustafa.
Also, I have a question about the project life cycle that we discussed 4 or 5 slides before. So exactly. In here we have a 6 step in project life cycle, but based on the PMI we have a 4 life cycle,
Yes,
which is,
and that is about to change from the PMI actually as of January. So because they're
in January we move from 4 life cycle to 6 life cycle.
I'm not quite sure, actually, to tell you the truth. I haven't looked into it, but for the purpose of this course, assume the 6th life cycle, okay? There's another one there that some people wanna include before initiate is have to do with a needs analysis, but that's part of the conceptual design, I think. But for the purpose of this course, go with this. Okay.
Okay.
This actually is going to get revised early next year, and it might change actually to be in line with what the PMI has outlined, because they're also going to be producing a construction-specific chapter as well, or or not sure what they're going to call it. But for now, for the purpose of this course, just stick with the 6. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Where are we? So, any other questions about feasibility studies? No? Okay, so as I said, after a feasibility study, the answer to the project can be a no, okay? And it'll become very, very clear, okay? Once the feasibility study is completed, if it's impartial, okay? And there are consulting companies out there who specialize just on feasibility studies for multiple projects, not just construction, any kind of project, you know, they'll do a feasibility study because they got the expertise within their teams, okay? The important thing about feasibility studies is that the company or whoever's doing the feasibility study has to be impartial, has to provide all available options that apply, and explore all kinds of technologies, and you know, come up with multiple scenarios as to which way the project can go and what that means for the budget. So that the client can have the options like, okay, no, what I want is not going to be financially feasible for me, so I need to stick with this option. So it's the client's decision, okay? And sometimes the client doesn't know that, doesn't understand that. You know, they might have the funds for a Chevy Equinox, you know, fully loaded, but they may think that, you know, they're going to get a Porsche, and that's just not the case. Okay, and this feasibility studies can cost anywhere between $50,000 to, you know, millions, depending on how much research needs to be done. Okay. I think we talked about this. So the purpose of the feasibility analysis is to have an informed and rational decision to advance or not to advance to the design and construction stage. That's at the core. That's what it's designed for, a feasibility analysis. Okay, it says time, money, and embarrassment. Have you guys ever heard of projects that got started and maybe were not completed or halfway were changed, you know, to serve some kind of other purpose? You know, maybe a feasibility study was not performed. Or the project got built, you know, and funds were committed, you know, all of a sudden, you know, for the project to fail or for the building or infrastructure to not be able to sustain itself financially. Okay, that's probably why. Also, to determine a fallback position. Fallback position is, okay, so if my idea isn't going to work, how, which other idea will be more financially feasible? Okay. It also aligns the technical requirements of the project. You guys can read this. I don't need to go into too much details here. I think you'll get all this based on that feasibility study that I'll be posting up on D2L soon. But in a nutshell, you know, the feasibility will describe the project with all the assumptions made, the goals, the objectives, the target market, the market need or demand, a SWOT analysis for the business students. You should know what a SWOT analysis is. For the construction project management students who do not know, that stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So you list out all the strengths of the project. Why is it good? Why is it a good idea? All the weaknesses, where is it lacking? You know, maybe there's not enough stakeholder support, you know, like in this case, Nobody really wanted a new train system built in Banff or Canmore or Lake Louise, and going through the Trans-Canada Highway. It was just going to cut more trees. It was just going to disrupt animal life. That's a weakness. Opportunities. Well, it was going to create a heck of a lot of jobs. Okay, it was going to employ a lot of people. It was going to be a source of income for the town of Banff and Canmore and Lake Louise. So local businesses were going to benefit from all that traffic. And threats, for threats would be the environmentalist groups that would be opposed to this, and all the people, because it wasn't just the environmental groups, it was just people in general that were opposed. Okay. Operating requirements, of this, it was actually found that the operating requirements, the financial commitment for operations, was going to be significant. They were never for that rail project to Banff and Lake Louise. They were never going to break even, never ever, because the operational financial requirements were going to be always higher than the revenues of the system. And the system could not function unless it was heavily subsidized by the government forever and ever. The government has a mandate of getting projects off the ground to incentivize the economy, and many times they subsidize many projects, which is great. It helps many industries start and flourish. However, when the projects need to be subsidized forever and ever by government, it's not a good project. Okay, it doesn't make sense financially. The projects, any and all projects, should be able to make it on their own without any government subsidies, period. If they cannot make it on their own, they're not a good project, in my opinion. I used to be a mortgage broker as well, so I have an MBA, and I was an entrepreneur, so I do not pretend to be a financial expert, but I can hold my own and I can swim. I'm a pretty good financial swimmer. Okay, no expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I can tell you that I sure doubt in my mind that any project that gets put forward has to be able to ride and operate and be successful on its own merits. Government subsidies are great. They're like the icing on the cake. Okay, but banks, when you go to get project financing, they have to ensure that the project can ride on its own merits, on its own financial, merits. If it cannot, a lot of banks will not be interested in any government financing at all, because they know there's an end date to the finance that the governments provide, or the subsidies that the government provides, and they always come with the strings attached. Okay. What else? What else? Any questions so far? Danny.
Yeah, just what was for the SWOT? It was strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and what was the T?
Threats.
Threats?
Threats. There's the threat that the project is going to fail.
Okay.
There's the threat that environmentalists are going to come and bomb the hell out of the new rail tracks.
Okay.
That kind of a threat. Not be pronouncing it right, so please, my apologies if that's the case. English is not my first language. Who else had his hand up? Oh, okay, nobody. Any other questions? No. Okay. We don't have enough time for this because I'm going to let you go here by 10:30. But basically, there is, I just gave you the example of a project here that did not pass the feasibility analysis. or feasibility study. It's the same thing, feasibility analysis or feasibility study. If it's put properly together, a lot of projects don't get past that. Okay, it is a good way to weed yourself the bad apples. Okay, it might sound great, it might be a good idea, might have a little bit of support, you know, but you have to put it out there and see if actually if the project can survive on its own, and it will be something that can be financially feasible long term on its own merits. Okay. Certainly, it's the same process with non-construction projects as well. You know, there has been cases where the government specifically has gone ahead and done projects that no feasibility study was ever performed, and it's been pushed, or projects have been pushed forward because somebody high up on their counter-suited butt decided that it would be a good idea and would look, they would look good, or it would look good on their professional profile to say that they chair and champion some kind of a major project, you know, for government that included multiple stakeholder agencies and blah 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 blah. Okay, there is being ton of those. Okay, feasibility studies are meant to get the good apples out and keep the bad apples from coming in and, you know, waste anybody's time and money. Okay. Many banks, when you go for project financing, the first thing they will ask, where's your feasibility study? Who performed it? Because they want to know that an impartial company performed it. If you perform it yourself with your buddies, your architect, engineer, designing buddies, you know, like, oh, hell no, it's not going ahead. Okay, you know, you may call that a feasibility study. You know, we're not even going to look at you or consider you for any kind of a project financing unless a proper feasibility study is done by these reputable companies. Okay, think of it as when you buy a house. Okay, some of you may have, some of you might know, some of you are thinking about it in the next few years. You go look at houses and you find one that you love. Okay, and you ask the owner, well, how much is, because the owner wants to sell. Okay, and they have a sale by owner. Okay, so you approach the owner and say, well, how much is your house for sale? Oh, I want $700,000. Oh, okay. Well, that's kind of odd that you think, you know, it doesn't look like a $700,000. It looks more like a $600,000 house. And most of the houses in the area are around the $500,000 to $600,000. So, well, that's okay. You know, he or she might have very unique features and maybe very high-end finishes inside. Maybe it's got more square footage. So you start asking for questions. You know, and you get more information. Well, do you have an appraisal done? Oh yeah, my buddy told me it's worth $700,000, so I want $700,000. Yeah, no. A proper appraisal by a third independent party needs to be performed. Oh, okay. So he goes and gets an appraisal, you know, done by his appraiser buddy who works in ABC Appraisals, you know, an amateur company, you know, out of Calgary. And you go, no. Okay, I will take an actual appraisal, you know, from a nationally recognized appraisal company such as maybe Atkinson's Appraisals, which operate nationwide, or maybe this company or that company. You know, they're an independent. Well, you know, those companies charge a heck of a lot of money for an appraisal. Well, yeah, they do, because it's an independent, you know, and unbiased opinion of the worth of your home. You know, you went for your buddy who probably charged you $50, you know, and provided you a half-ass appraisal, you know, based on what you wanna get for your house. It's the same thing, you know, in the feasibility study. Has to be an independent body, you know, and those bodies charge money. It's a service. Okay. Abandoned construction sites. Has anybody seen any of this?
Yes.
Okay, so there's multiple reasons why construction sites are abandoned. I guess the intent of the slides here, because I got this material from other instructors, by the way. The intent is to show, you know, when a feasibility study was not properly performed and the construction project went ahead, and halfway through something happened that, you know, maybe the purpose of the project, you know, shifted, or the economy changed. That's a biggie when it comes to construction projects that are abandoned. Is anybody familiar with Calgary South? Like South McLeod, James McKevitt, very close to Midnapore and Shaughnessy. Is anybody familiar with that area? No? Let me see. MC McLeod, how do you spell McLeod Trail, and 146 Avenue. Where is that? McLeod Trail, there you go. Maps. Come on. Estás en una Goa. There you go. If you guys can see this, this is Fish Creek. This is McLeod. I think this is Canyon Meadows. So this is southeast here. This is southwest. Right here, there's a street. I'm going to make it bigger. If you're coming south on McLeod, oops, there is a roadway that goes into James McKevitt, and it's also called 146 Avenue. So right here, in this area, I'm going to switch to picture mode. Right here. Again, this is McLeod. This is James McKevitt, 146, close to where I live. There's this building here that before the 2008-2009 mortgage bubble recession time happened, there was two buildings similar to this one that were being built here and here. Okay, they were going to look exactly the same. So here are some townhouses, and here this is a 7th or 8th story building that sells condos. I believe there are semi-luxury condos, and then the townhouses here, they're nice townhouses. The train station is right here, so within walking distance, 1 block to the train station, and Fish Creek Park is just on their backyard. So these two got to the foundation stage, and that was it. When the economic recession happened, they couldn't be finished because they were not able to withstand the economic downturn. All of a sudden, financing dried up. It was not done. The feasibility study, there was a feasibility study, but it did not. It painted a very rosy picture, you know, that it did not give different scenarios if the cost of borrowing money would increase by 25 basis points or 50 basis points. What that means really is by half a percentage or a percentage, you know, it did not account for that. So all of a sudden the financing costs went up and construction just stopped, and it was abandoned for nearly 8 years, I believe, 9 years. And every time that I went through McLeod and went up here, I would see the foundation with a bunch of rebar bars sticking out, and it was sticking like a sore thumb, and that happened for years and years and years and years. Okay, I think there's a question. This reminds me of the tech mining project that just been recently canceled. Good, good example, Jasper. Okay. There was a lot of hype about that project. It was going to be billions. It would have been good for the economy. I shared that project. I was like, yay, I wanted that project. However, as a financial person, once it was announced that it was canceled, I was one of the first people to go, no. Okay, but I went and looked at the financial projections. Okay, it was going to cost a ton of money, and they were only going to start making money in about 50 years. Okay, so they were going to make money. It was just not possible. The way they were going to build it, there was a ton of opponents to the project, namely indigenous groups and environmentalist groups and the tree huggers, and but it been phenomenal for the economy of Alberta. However, they were not going to make money, and once the government withdraw its support, or they say no, then actually they were going to say no, but the companies saw that ahead of time, and they looked at the financials, because they could have kept fighting. They could have kept fighting, and changing things, and just to satisfy the government, just like the Keystone Pipeline has been fighting and fighting and fighting for many, many years, and they keep at it, and they keep coming across roadblocks. Same idea. They saw that there was no, even if they would have kept fighting, there was no way they were going to make money. So the project got canceled, and it was so sad. So good example, Jasper. So that project, where am I here? The one that I was showing you was abandoned, for 8-9 years, and then some other group picked it up for pennies on the dollar. Like, they picked it up, the entire project, I believe for 30 cents on the dollar, and which great for them, and they had the money to in the financials to build something else. Now, if you drive around there, you'll see that it's more. It's a seniors place, I think, with some kind of a church embedded in between, and then apartments for seniors on both ends. It is serving a purpose, because we need more of those places, apparently. So they saw a need, and they repurposed the site. And these condos here, some of them are for sale, but a lot of the condos were bought, overpriced, and some of these owners have been having a tough time trying to sell their places. So yeah. Now we're almost 10:30, 10:25. Architectural programming. I think this is the last thing I will talk briefly on, and the rest you can read by yourself, and I'll give you a link to go to in YouTube that really explains what architectural programming is all about. But it's the research and decision-making process that identifies the scope of the work for a given project. Okay, so it's one of the ways that you go about putting that scope of work, or scoping the project. If some of you are very familiar with that terminology, scoping a project, there is a way to go about it. Okay, it's called a project or design or architectural programming, or facility programming, functional requirements, and scoping. It's the same thing. Okay, make note of this. Okay, hint, hint, hint. This is this. Important. Might be in the midterm. Okay. So this is what we kind of been talking about here for the last hours. The owner has a project that they want to get fulfill. They got a need that they want to fulfill. Maybe some kind of a warehouse to centralize shipping operations. Something. But they don't really have a very good idea of what that will look like. What it should look like based on their needs. Maybe they have an idea what they would like, or but they might not know what they need. Okay, so the owner engages a specialist or consultant to form the scope committee or the project committee, or the design committee, or to start tackling the programming. Okay, oops, where am I here? They establish lines of communication, authority, relationship between the owner and the programmer. This will impact the deliverables. If the planning has to be done in a very specific way, depending on the type of structural that is. It's not that everybody just gets together on a Friday afternoon, at 1 o'clock for 2 hours or so, and then they go through a powwow and then they go out for beers. It doesn't work that way. They go through things like the requirements, the client's requirements, the appearance, what kind of appearance that the client wants. Many times they don't even know. They're like, a building, just give me a building. Well, what kind of building? You want a LEED platinum or gold or bronze compliant building, or just a building? Okay, what kind of budget do we have to work with here? What kind of timing are you looking at? Oh, well, I need to be in operations by May 1st, 2022. I absolutely must be in possession of the building, and my people need to be working on it. Okay, so that now gives me a timeline, and I can plan that, and that will affect the the delivery of the services and will affect the budget. Okay. What kind of sites do you have in mind? And oops, the owner might have, okay, well, there is this lot here that I thought would be very ideal, but I can also get this lot and this other lot. I can go from one to the other, no problem. So the consultant will go and visit the site, look at the constraints, the traffic patterns. Well, how many people are going to be working in your building? How many customers are going to be coming to your building on a daily basis? Do you need to be close to some kind of a transit system? Like the rail, the C train, or people are going to bus it, or everybody's just going to drive to your place. Okay, if everybody drives to your place, then you're going to score less lead points. If it's close to some kind of a mass transit system, you're going to have more lead points, and the requirements, of the building will be less, or the budget will be less. All those things need to be taken into account, and those are things that the client might not know, and he might have a very preferable location, but the constraints and the money might tell him, no, you're going to go here. Okay. And that's something that the consultant will help the client with. Okay. What else? So both the client and the programmer, architect, many of those programmers are the architect or a specialized type of designer, will enter into some kind of a contractual agreement, where we were talking about before, maybe that means some kind of a upfront retainer, where the contractor will draw, or programmer or architect will draw from on a weekly basis or a monthly basis. And many of those retainers, or at least from the architect side, they want the retainer in the contract to say, okay, from this $100,000 retainer, I will draw on a bi-weekly basis, I will draw $5,000, okay, on a bi-weekly basis, so every 2 weeks. And then when I meet these milestones, I will have a milestone payment of another $10,000. So, and if depending on how many milestones there are, it could be 10 milestones. So that means, you do the math, you're looking at about 8, 10, 12, weeks or so. for that $100,000 to be completely drawn out and used up. And then another retainer will have to be provided based on where you are. You know, you're hoping to be here, but maybe you are here and there's more work that needs to be done, more research, more unknowns that need to be solved. And then the designer would ask the owner, okay, so I need another 50,000, 100,000, 200,000, whatever the case is, to get us to this, okay? And that's up for negotiations, okay? I will stop right here. You guys can read the rest. But basically, it just goes into objectives of the design programming or project programming. The steps required. This is important. I need you to understand this. The cost to the owner when it comes to making changes, it's a lot less, and they got more influence at the top. You know, when, at the beginning of the engagement. As the process goes along, the cost to implement any changes goes up, and the opportunity to influence or change the way of the project goes down. This relationship may seem very simple to you, but you need to keep this in mind as the course progresses, okay? So as you read the rest of the slides, look at this, and I'm sure it'll make a lot more sense to some of you. This too, it's a little bit similar. You know, the cost of late changes in the project, whether it's construction, IT, healthcare, education, doesn't matter. As the project is going along, you know, the cost of changes or performing any changes gets higher and higher as the project goes along. And the possibility to add functionality and value is greater for less money, is greater at the beginning of the project. Okay. Any question? Oh, wrong slide here. Is there anything else to do before next week, class? Yes. Here, where am I? Schedule. Oh, wrong class. Schedule. There you go. So read the rest of the slides. There's not that many. There's about 5 or 6 slides, I believe, maybe 7. Read the textbook chapters 1, 13, 14. If for those of you who have the little black book of project management, read chapter 1 and 2 and 3. And this is for today's class. This is just gonna, you know, iterate today's topics and a few things we didn't discuss. And then for next week, read chapters 1, 8, 9, and 13 and 14. And one thing as well, before I let you go. By the way, this schedule is up on the 12th, so refer to this. So read. You got a ton of reading to do. Believe me, you should be doing all this reading. It's going to help you on the midterm. Okay. Group assigning groups. Do you guys? And I'm going to give you the choice here. Do you guys want me to assign the groups, or do you prefer to form your own groups? And in groups of 5. So I kind of need to know here what you guys want. Do you want me to assign the groups, or prefer to form our own groups? Okay, assign groups. Sure, sure mean. Assign, assign, random. Assign makes sense. Okay, great. So Dan, you prefer to form your own groups, but everybody else seems to assign random. Oh, Owen, we got 2. Okay, I'll tell you what. Form. Okay, so we got 3 here. I'll tell you what. Those who absolutely know who they want to be their own groups, let me know by the weekend. I don't want to form any groups as of right now, because there might be still people who will drop out of the class. I've been told that to expect that at least a couple of people might be dropping out. So next week, by end of next week, or maybe throughout the week, the people who are not in a group, I will assign groups. Okay, but if you know who you want to be with, send me an email. Jose, I'm in your scope and design class, and this is my group members. Jane A, J1, or Jane 2, or whatever. 5 people. Needs to be 5 people. Okay. Great. I will make note of that. Those who do not have a group by end of next week, I will assign you to one. But I'm gonna wait until I think the Drawpad deadline is by Thursday, so I'll wait until then. Okay. And it's not crucial for you to be in a group this week or next week. Okay. So those who want to form their groups, please send me an email. And when you send me an email, please let me know who you are. Maybe on the subject line, CPMT 4060 Company Design Class group members. Boom. Now my group members are this, and this. Just be specific, because I have about 140 to 150 students, and I'm going to be getting a ton of emails this semester. So I need to locate you or know who you are very, very quickly. Okay, so that's your homework for the following week. Remember, finish the slides. Where were we? I will just start from here again. Slide 33 to 56. So I guess that's about 20 pages or 20 slides, but they're not hard to get through. I got through some of them. Yeah. Any questions? Any questions? If there is no questions, have a great rest of your day, and hopefully we're going to learn together this semester. I'll remain on. If anybody wants to ask anything particularly or personally, I'll stay on for a few more minutes. No worries.
Hi, Jose.
Hi.
This is Rajika. One more thing. From the slides that you mentioned, right? The important slides were 30, 38, and 40, right? From today's class.
I would say the entire presentation is important, man.
I know, but like to give like a special attention was 30, 38, and 40, right?
Well, if you're gonna take it at that, let's see. Where is it? This is important a little bit. This is important. Feasibility analysis. All these ones are important, definitely.
Yeah.
All 4 or 5 feasibility analysis. This one plus this 2. Okay.
Yeah.
The objectives, definitely important. This is important. This one is important.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Research, yeah, like all the steps. Okay, research, goals and objectives. All of these are important. Okay. Like almost the entire presentation is important. You should definitely go through it again, probably. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Any other questions? Anybody who remain?
Yeah, I guess I have a question. Hi, Jose.
Hi,
So,
just.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering about office hours, but you haven't really talked about the details. I'm just wondering if you're gonna send us your office hours, or like is there like designated time for?
Office hours, you can send me an email anytime during regular business hours. I will, if send me emails. I think I talked about it in my personal presentation there after. I will respond to evening inquiries, no problem. After I have supper or so, I usually go to my computer and see if I have anything I need to do, and I will respond to an email. I try to get to everybody as quickly as possible. So no specific office hours. But if you're telling me stuff like at midnight or really, really, really early in the morning, I am not getting back to you
So
until the following day.
And that's it. And
Yeah.
as long as it's during your regular business hours.
Yeah, like I will get back to you eventually. I have classes that I'm teaching at SAID, and I also got 2 classes at the university. So during the day, it's I'm busy sometimes, especially on Tuesdays and Wednesdays are my busiest days, and then Thursdays it's it's still busy but not as much. Mondays are my more relaxed days, and Fridays as well. Fridays actually, you might not get me in the afternoons because it's my free day and pretty much, and I want to get out of the house. So Fridays, I might be gone from like mid-morning or so. I will hop on early in the morning to see if I need to reply to anybody or anything. But maybe if you send me something like later in the morning or in the afternoon, I'm not going to get back to you until maybe the evening or the following day.
Okay. Thank you so much.
No problem.